Zayn. Okay, we're gonna get there.
Take the reins.
I love how you kind of mentioned, you got out at the right time. And I think that you leaving the band obviously shook the fucking world and everyone was like, Zayn, like, no, like, keep it together. But I think what, again, we forget is you're a human being and you clearly had to take care of your mental health and do what was best for you. I know you've lightly talked about this, but just so we get a full circle moment, can you just take us back to that moment of like actually sitting with yourself and knowing it was time to leave?
Yeah, I think I'd known for a minute. There was a lot of, look, I don't want to go into too much detail, but there was a lot of politics going on. Certain people were doing certain things, certain people didn't want to sign contracts. So I knew something was happening. So I just got ahead of the curve. If I'm being honest with you, I was like, I'm just going to get out of here. I think this is done. And I just seen it. And I completely selfishly wanted to be the first person to go and make my own record. If I'm being completely honest with you, I was like, I'm going to jump the gun here for the first time. I'm a passive dude, but when it comes to my music and my business, I'm serious about it and I'm competitive. So I wanted to be the first to go and do my own thing. That was the reason. And then there was obviously underlying issues like within our friendships too. We'd been together every day for 5 years and we got sick of each other, if we're being completely honest. So we were close, we'd done crazy things with each other and that nobody else in the world will ever understand or have them experiences that we've shared with each other. And I look back on it now in a much fonder light than I would have, as I'd just left. There were great experiences, I had great times with them, but yeah, we just run our course.
I love that you're saying that too, because I think people can relate to that of like, if you're with the same people 24/7, no shit. And I think I can imagine as you guys were younger, everyone was so idealizing this band that you couldn't say that back in the day of like, yeah, we got fucking sick of each other. It was time to like do our own things. And I think that's so okay. But because there was this obsession, obviously, I get it. There's the nostalgia.
For sure, yeah, it's an idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like when you watch Friends, you don't want Joey cussing off Chandler, you know what I mean? You want these people to be best friends. Like, it's an idea.
Yeah, you want them to stay together forever. But I also think it's so healthy because imagine if you hadn't ended it, then you really would have fucking hated each other. And being able to go on your own way. Also, someone always has to be the first one to leave.
Exactly.
And maybe it's the best thing for it. But in the time, I can imagine there's hurt feelings. Were you afraid of what the world was going to think of you when you made that decision?
I don't think I was afraid. No. I just the first thing I wanted to do was call my mom. As cheesy as that sounds, I just wanted to call her and be like, "Is it okay if I come home? Like, is this good?" Like, and she was like, "Yeah." So as soon as she said that, I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm over this. I didn't really care about what anybody else thought. That's the type of person I am. Like we were talking about earlier, I try to close them opinions off. I'm not really the type of person who defines myself on other people's opinions of myself. If people know me and know me well, they know who I am. And I spend that time on them people and make sure that they're, looked after and they get that time with me rather than the people that I'm never necessarily even going to see or, have a conversation with, especially if it's a negative remark, Positive remarks are always nice. I don't really pay attention to either of them, if I'm being completely honest with you. Just don't let it get in my head.
I think that's so smart because I think social media, even if you're not famous, like everyone is feeding themselves and their worth by what other people are saying about them. And it's like, you good with your family? And like, I don't mean family by blood. Like you may
just,
not be good with
people
who
that you have around you, your circle,
Yeah.
And as long as they're good, then that's all that matters to me.
Wait, but did you not tell your mom you were doing it?
Did I not tell my mum I was leaving?
Yeah.
No, it was like kind of spur of the moment. Like I'd not told her beforehand, like, oh, I'm thinking of leaving. I just called her on that day and that I was leaving and said, I'm coming home. Is it okay? Have you still got a bed for me? And she was like, yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, man. So it's
She's like, yeah, come back.
Yeah, my dad wasn't so cool about it. He was like, no, you got to stay with Simon. Simon's going to stay you right. Like, don't come home, stay there. But my mum was like, yeah, you can come home. Please, son, come home,
Oh my God, that's actually really cute that the first person, like, Mom, do you have a bed for me? Mm-hmm. She's like, let's go. Because didn't you also buy your mom, one of the first things you did with your success is you bought her a home?
I did, yeah.
How cool was that to be able to buy your mom something after
amazing.
Everything she's done?
Yeah, it's a great feeling.
Wild. Okay, so you leave the band and take me to when you're laying in your mom's home, you're in bed. What were those next couple weeks like for you, like mentally and emotionally?
It was interesting. I was just trying to get stuff together. Like I wanted to get like a plan of action. You know what I mean? So I was like on a bit of a mission. I wasn't there too long. I went home for a little bit and then I went back to London and started working and stuff.
That must have been so stressful too, because I feel like, I guess we see it in various different forms, but like if you make a jump, even if someone like quits their job, right? They're like, I need to prove to myself and other people that like I now can do it. Like, and so
Exactly.
did
Yeah.
you put pressure on yourself when obviously you came out being solo? Like, were you fucking nervous?
Yeah, for sure. It's a very different experience standing on stage by yourself too. Like it's a whole different workload as well. Singing 3.5 minutes of a song completely by yourself. Like when you've got a song divvied between five people, you're singing a little bit of a verse, maybe some ad libs. You know, I preferred the workload. I'm gonna be honest.
You're
But
like taking a nap in the back. Gary's
just
like,
chill.
Zane, it's your part. You're like,
Yeah, oh yeah, nice one. But yeah, I just kind of had to like make an adjustment. I started practicing a lot more, singing a lot more, and just like making sure I could sing for 3 minutes.
right, you had to be like, I need to get back to my Let Me Love You days
That's it.
where I'm like back
It's
on
all
X
about me,
Factor.
yeah.
It's just me. I'm curious, and I don't know, because I know you were saying, and I totally respect it, of like you were kind of just in this phase of going, 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 and you didn't have time to stop. But when you did go solo and you left, did you have to take any moment to be like, who the fuck am I, independent of now not being a part of something that I was identified as in media?
Um, yeah, definitely. I think that's why I've took the time I have to like not even necessarily do interviews and do too much like press exposure because I feel like we were so overexposed in the band that like it takes a bit of time for you naturally to progress as a human and give something else that is interesting that you have to say. You don't want to be sat there just saying the same shit on repeat, you know what I
Right.
mean, day in, day out. Like I think there should be a good healthy break in between and that was my approach to it for sure. So um I feel like in terms of, you know, figuring out what your identity is as an artist, the only way you're going to do that is by living. You know, you can't
Yeah.
just be on the conveyor belt and expect to have any sort of experience that's new that you're going to give people.
I love that too, because I feel like people, especially creators, there's such a stress about taking a break. And it doesn't mean you're actually taking a break. You could be working
Still
your ass
working,
off.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
just
But like popping out of the
not doing it in
scene.
the spotlight. Yeah,
Yeah. And were you able to just not have anxiety about it? Because you're like, I know I'm coming back, but it's like, I got to just be good on my own shit and not be fulfilling the tabloids and everyone else. Like, how am I on my own right now?
exactly. Yeah,
Interesting.
that was the whole
Wow.
thought behind it for
So
sure.
you started doing your own solo music,
Uh-huh.
and I remember when you came out, Pillow Talk, all the good stuff. You popped off, and it's like really dope to see you coming out with your own sound and creative, and it's you. And that's exciting to know, like, you are producing this, and it's not obviously, and no shade to One Direction, but like, you're one of five. Like, you can't really have a full say in shit.
No,
Now
yeah.
this is you. When you started on your solo career, like, was there anything that you really wanted to make sure that you could bring to life that maybe you weren't able to when you were in a band, like
Um,
creatively?
Creatively, I just wanted to talk about things, you know, that were a bit more real, like
Mm-hmm.
and authentic to situations that I was going through in my life. Like obviously, certain things that we would talk about in the band was always very, you know, clean cut, like just glazing over the top, not really any depth or any stories to what's going on. And that was always a big thing for me. Obviously, I understand again from a marketing scheme that like the the audience and the fan base we were appealing to at that point was that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So it was never going to work for that kind of audience. But yeah, I just wanted to show people that I had a bit more depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that, because like, even earlier you said like you like to write poetry, and I'm like, I can only imagine how much the writing process is therapeutic, and you get to infuse parts of yourself and your identity, whereas that just like wasn't in the past, which it shouldn't have been. Like, it
Yeah.
was a band, it was great, whatever, but now you can actually artistically exercise that part of yourself, which must be
I think it's
really
difficult
fun.
for people to write songs even from one perspective, you know. Like there was
Yeah.
5 of us in the room when we used to write sometimes, and it was so hard to get us all to like have the same viewpoint
Yeah.
and want to talk about the same thing. So in that sense, from a creative point, it is a lot more freeing for me. Like I can fully get to grips with every part of it. You know, the
Yeah.
melody, the story, the production, the
Mm-hmm.
emotion, the feeling that I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to convey in each song. So in that sense, it's super liberating.
It's cool because I think we're getting to know you a little bit better now that you are doing solo music. But do you think that the world even like slightly knows Zayn yet?
I don't know. um, I try to like move in a certain way that hopefully I will still have some juice. I don't want to give everything all in one go. So if they don't know everything yet, that's okay. But hopefully they're getting to know me a bit better in
Mm-hmm.
this interview.
Mm-hmm. See,
They're getting
maybe.
to see my thought
Yeah.
patterns.
Still a little mysterious,
Yeah,
Zayn.
I'm trying. I'm trying
No,
to
we
be an
like
open
it.
book.
We like it. Okay, how about this?
Uh-huh.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Describe myself in 3 words.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, I'm definitely not going to use mysterious as one of them. Um, I would say um, I'm a chill, funny, loving guy.
All the girls watching this are like, ah, so nice. That's so nice. What's your favorite thing about yourself?
Um, I don't know. I think I like the fact that I'm pretty witty. Like I'm pretty smart. Like, and I enjoy that about myself. I think.
You're good company with yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I enjoy that I'm pretty smart. I have little laughs to myself, about that.
What's your least favorite thing about yourself?
um, I'm a bit sensitive sometimes. Yeah, not in a bad way. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I can
that's a
like
good
take
thing.
things the wrong way sometimes.
Like,
I'm definitely working on that.
give me an example.
Like I just like tend to like if somebody says something to me, like I'll take it the wrong way if like I really care about their opinion, what they're saying to me.
Got it.
Yeah,
Then you'll get upset.
yeah.
I think that's good though. That means you care,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Like I said, with the people that are close to me.
Right. Do you think you at times can be too caring in moments that you need to learn to like
I'm learning to be a bit more tame with it. Yeah, for sure.
little boundaries?
Yeah. No, not boundaries. Just like I'm just learning not to like get in my head about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Across the board. Like I exercise that well in terms of like dealing with the media and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. But I don't necessarily do that too well in my personal life. Sometimes I take
Yeah.
things to heart. Yeah.
That's good though. Again, it does mean you care. But I get then you're like, yeah, but then I'm over here like dying inside. I gotta like muster up the courage to
Then
be
I go
like,
write a song.
yeah, yeah. Put that into a song, okay? Give us one that's like really sad so we can
Oh,
like
I've got a
cry.
few. I've got a few.
Oh,
A few really
really?
sad ones. Yeah.
See, this is what we need. Zane.
Okay.
We need some criers.
We've got some cry moments.
What do you think is the biggest misunderstanding about you?
Um, that I'm like super serious, like that I like just I'm like super stern and serious, yeah, all the time. When I'm not, like, um, I'm just chill. I know that like a lot of people have like high energy personalities, and it's just not the way I am. It's what I'm saying. I'm just a bit more relaxed about things.
It's actually nice to be in person with you because I could see in media it could come off, I get it, like serious. You're literally just chilling.
Yeah,
You're relaxed.
I'm just relaxed.
You're
Yeah.
you're cozy in your sweater. There's thunder. There's rain. We're
In
just
Pennsylvania, I
relaxed.
didn't even have to drive too far. Came to your mum's house.
Let's talk about anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you have lightly talked about it in times, and I just want to talk to you about like how anxiety affects your life. What has it done in terms of playing a part in your personal life, in your career? Like, just talk to me about what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, so I think we kind of touched on it a bit earlier, like when we were talking about, like the 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 nature of our job, like what we were doing in the band and the situation being on stage in front of thousands of people. I think it's a really normal place to experience anxiety. Like you're gonna go and perform in front of, a lot of different people that you don't know who they are. And it's not a natural thing to do, in terms of everyday life. You don't just talk to thousands of people, so it was something that I had to, learn to adjust. Anxiety for me, I've learned is a feeling that now has a word, and I feel like for generations, human beings have felt it and not really even been able to put, the finger on what it is. But we overcome it, and certain things in life can change your perspective on them things. And I think for me, like, since I've had my daughter and since she was born, like, the main thing in my mind is like trying to be a good example to her, like in terms of, I can do things and I can achieve things and I can overcome things and you can do this too. And to let things like, a feeling stop you from doing that after having a child feels like a really small thing. Like I feel like I've like had to step up, as a man or just, as a person, and be this example to her that doesn't succumb to these feelings. That's why I'm even doing this interview. Like I used to get a lot of anxiety around like having a conversation like this, just in this kind of environment, and I want her to be able to look at me and be like, "Yo, my dad's doing this. He's the man. He's cool.
Cool.
He's a cool guy. Yeah." So that's helped me a lot for sure.
That is so fucking cool to obviously my mom's a psychologist, so I grew up and I think mental health was not a conversation for most families, and hopefully it will be. But like I've watched my mom talk to so many people and talk them through how to get over a panic attack, how to get over anxiety, how to not get over it, but like manage it, live with it, be okay to go about your everyday life. I think sometimes if you don't have anxiety, people look at people with anxiety like, just get the fuck over it. And I think it shows up in everyone's lives in such different ways. And
I don't think that's the way you can look at it. I think everybody's situation is individual.
Yes.
I think it takes an individual experience then to happen for somebody to overcome that too.
Totally. If you think about the first time you can recall in your life experiencing anxiety, did you experience anxiety prior to fame?
For sure.
Like, take me to like a moment in your life where you remember being like, wow, I didn't know that was anxiety, but now I do.
But I enjoyed it. That
What?
was the thing. Yeah, like I enjoyed being in that feeling. And then got to a certain point, I think, where it just became too much. Like I just was weighing on me, that feeling of like anticipation and then getting the adrenaline and then the after feeling of that, As a young kid, I loved it. Like I loved being on stage and I loved performing. It was like a free space for me to go and be a character, because it was, I was playing a role in some little school performance. It was nothing serious. When it became a thing that had a lot of weight behind it in terms of, people watching and stuff, then you're gonna have natural feelings of anxiety.
People staring at you, judging you, writing about you, following you, taking pictures of you. That's a lot. Can you share with us, like, in the heyday of paparazzi and insanity, like, what would be something that would really trigger your anxiety in those days?
Just the idea of like not being able to just do normal things, like to just go outside and like walk out onto the street, like, because where we lived it was kind of a bit crazy, and there's just people always there like waiting to take a photo and stuff. And obviously thinking about having a child and like raising her in that environment, it was just very claustrophobic for me. I didn't want her to have to be like exposed to that, because she didn't choose it, like it was a choice that I made. So I was like, we need to get out of here so that she can have some chance of like a normal childhood, where there's not cameras flashing in her face constantly.
Let's talk about you being a father, because it's really cool to see you talk about anxiety, which again, I have so much respect for even you being able to talk about it, because I know it's like you're not that public about your life, and that's something that you live with every day. And to say like having a child has helped you overcome something that is like in your day to day, that's like pretty debilitating in moments. But you being famous and having a child, like deciding to move here, I can imagine you're trying to shield her from this life that you also are still trying to figure out? Like, is it a lot?
Um, I feel like there's a healthy way to do it. You know, I'm not necessarily trying to shield her from it because she's gonna know. You know, she's gonna get to a certain point. She's gonna have a certain level of awareness. She's gonna know what's going on. I'm just trying to give her an option. You know, so it's like a choice for her. Like if she wants to be away from it, she can be out here. Like because I am a famous person and I get sanctuary here, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like she is going to have a lot of options and whatever she wants to do in her life, obviously I'll support her for sure, yeah.
So good. Okay, how has becoming a dad shifted your priorities in life?
Um, the crazy thing is obviously I have a 50% of the time. So that time I have with her is so important because I feel like she's growing up so fast. Like, so when I'm with her, I don't work like at all. I just spend a full day with her doing things that she wants to do, like painting, play-doh, this, that, go to the park, go to the theme park, go to the zoo. Like, we just have fun. Like, and I feel like I've like re been rekindled my own childhood like through her, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like we get to a certain point in adult life where everything's kind of vague and grey and boring, and she's brought that colour back for me for sure, yeah.
What is a dad quality that you've proudly taken on that makes you laugh a little when you think about it of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this?
I keep being told I'm telling dad jokes and I'm leaning into it. I'm just like, it's okay, it's cool. Like I'm using like Christmas cracker jokes and stuff, and it's really funny. Like people just look at me like I'm a weirdo. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a dad and I'm allowed to tell these jokes. You have to give me a pass.
Wow, Zayn, I didn't expect that. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
I love a dad joke.
You're like full dad vibe.
That's it. Yeah, I'm going full.
I love how you're like, I'm fully leaning in. There is no stopping me. Okay, well, you haven't cracked one here, so if you want to, you can always give us your best. But, you know, when it feels...
We'll say that for another time.
Okay. What is your favorite thing to do with your daughter?
My favorite thing to do with her is she shows a lot of signs of like musical intelligence already. So I just love like playing instruments with her and singing with her. Like I'll sing and she sings along and she can do like good harmonies and stuff already, and she's only 2.5, like, and she harmonizes with me well and like finishes notes and she can hold them for a long time. I'm like, I think you might have a bit of ability, you.
I'm picturing the two of you playing with Play-Doh and you start singing and then your daughter starts singing
She
and
can
it's
hit
like,
these high notes like falsetto. Like yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, yo.
like, whoa, you're good. You want to be
Yeah,
on my
I
next
couldn't
album?
do this. I didn't speak till I was 3.
How the fuck do you sing?
Yeah,
Whoa.
it's mad.
Wow.
And
You
she
must
remembers
be
like
so-
full lyrics to songs as well, like every word. It's mad.
Wow, we
We'll
got a
see.
superstar in our hands.
see.
Okay. It's interesting to hear you say like you're singing to her, which like would have loved if my dad could have sang. He can't. What are you singing to her, and like what are her favorite songs that you sing?
She loves Disney movies, so we sing a lot of Disney songs together. You know, sing like "You've Got a Friend in Me" and stuff. Yeah, she sings it really cute.
Honestly, that's really cute thinking about you guys singing that. What qualities of yourself, aside from like having that musical aspect, more like personality, like what qualities do you see from yourself and your daughter?
I think she's funny. Like she's a bit of a cheeky one. Yeah, she likes to have a bit of a joke and stuff and like laugh a lot. She's chilled though, but she loves reading as well, which is something I think she definitely took from me. Like she just has a affinity for words. Like she remembers everything.
Has becoming a parent changed your relationship with your parents?
Definitely, yeah. In a like respect way, you know,
Yeah.
like you just have so much respect for the things that they've put aside for you, you know, like when you realize all the sacrifices that you make as a parent, like just to be there and be present with your child, like you can't have nothing but respect for that, for sure.
I know you said like obviously you have her 50% of the time, you want to make the most of these moments. Like what's something that you guys have done together recently that made you so happy and you had like such a great time?
We went to Nickelodeon in New Jersey, which
God,
was
it's so
just really
fun.
good. I enjoyed it. I know it's like super childish, but like I had a lot of fun. Yeah, I think I had more fun than it was good.
That is so good. How is co-parenting going?
Co-parenting is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a really good relationship for Khai. She's the the main importance.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's going well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I think.
Zayn's like, from
I
me.
think from me, yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you if I can ask one question just about, like, as delicately as I can go about it. I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask about the 2021 incident.
Okay.
I know you can't really speak on it. I think obviously as a man, you, like, there was a lot out there said about you, and you basically took the high road and didn't say anything, and you kind of put out that, like, blanket statement of just like, I want to respect my daughter and not say anything.
Exactly, yeah.
And I can imagine how difficult it is, kind of like almost a culmination of everything we're talking about today, of like, how do you balance when something is out there about you, about your character, that people are reading and speculating and saying things about you, and how do you decide when to speak up and when to, like, be silent and, like, chill on it and not really go there?
Yeah, so for me, like we were talking about earlier, I don't tend to get involved when people say things online, whether it's got something to do with me or whether it doesn't. Because for me, my most valuable thing that I have in life is time, and that takes so much time in a toxic environment to, like, explain yourself to people and justify this. And so I just kind of keep to myself. I knew what the situation was. I knew what happened. And the people involved knew what happened too. And that's all I really cared about. If anybody, of a sane mind would look at the situation, I believe that you could respect that. Like, I just didn't want to bring attention to anything, I just wasn't trying to get into a negative back and forth with her, any sort of narrative online where my daughter was going to look back and read that and be able to read into it, and it would just be something there was no point. I believe I dealt with it in the best way, like, in an amicable, respectful way, and that's all that needs to be said, I feel like it's a lot of negativity.
I can only imagine, like, first of all, no fucking family is perfect, and so to be on the stage that you guys are on,
and like you said, your family issues, like if something happens in the family, like, I'd rather keep that between the family,
totally.
We don't need a whole audience of people and opinions, because
Yeah.
it's hard enough to manage between two.
I more so just also wanted to give you the chance because I think you obviously handled it so amicably. I also think in doing my job, like, this is a podcast where I'm trying to support women, right? And, like, reading headlines, like, I wanted to hear from you, obviously, because hearing you even today, I don't know if, like, I'm just going to say what it is, like, you have said you have 50% custody. And so anything that we've all read online, like, well, if that was true, then that would have affected that.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
I think it's important to just say, like, me doing my job, I just wanted to clarify, like, it's not like, unless you can correct me, like, you don't have to have people with you while you're with your daughter and, like, visitation rights. Like, you have custody of your child.
Yeah.
So I think it's just important to say, because people are reading this shit being like, oh my,
yeah,
you know
no,
what I
for
mean?
sure, yeah, and I'm super full on, like,
Yeah.
hands on with my child, every chance I can be. If I could get 60%, I would have it. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your music. You're coming back. We're getting a song. Tell me what inspired the song. What can we expect? Give it to us.
Yeah, so I'm working. I've been working on my record for a minute. And I have a single for the summer coming out called Love Like This, that's like a standalone song, just a summer jam. It's a good vibe, like, yeah, it just feels like summer.
That's what I think we need.
We do need a good summer
Like,
tune.
we just need a bop. Like, someone asked me recently, like, oh, like, what's the song of summer? And I actually said, you know what? Like, I'm interviewing someone and I know they have a single coming out and I have a feeling that could be the song of summer. Are you nervous to go on stage, like, alone?
I was, yeah. Like when I first started, like performing by myself, I was nervous, and I'm still nervous now because it's been a few years that
Right.
I've been on stage. But I have this like energy too. Like I feel like I have something to give, and I want to get on
Yeah.
stage and be there again and feel that. That's one thing I can say. Like my fan base has always been supportive in that manner. They're always just like, we're here, we've got you. Like when you're ready, we've got you. Like come,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna come and listen to your tunes. So yeah, I gotta be super thankful for that, and I'm super grateful, and I feel that love for sure. So I'm ready to prove these people right.
Can we expect any music inspired by your daughter on your records?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm doing I'm doing a record that I don't think people are really gonna expect. Like it's a different sound for
Oh.
me, and it's got some like more narrative going on, like real life experiences and stuff. So yeah, my daughter's mentioned in there a couple of times.
Wow. I think that's going to be so fucking dope to actually hear from you in long form, essentially, because an album is in long form. Like, we're
Yeah.
going to get to know you more, which is exciting again because Mr. Mysterious over there, we're still trying to understand Zane. Okay, what is something that you want your fans to take away from this interview?
I'd like my fans to feel like they got to know me a bit, because you keep saying I'm Mr. Mysterious.
You've
So
been open. I do appreciate
yeah,
it.
no. So I'm hoping they got to know me a little bit, and they feel like they've seen me and caught up with me a bit, and they're gonna see me a lot more. Like, and I want them to know that, like, across the board, like I've kind of had a full like mental rehaul, and in the best way, thanks to my child, and being able to see things in a different light. And I'm going to be a lot more present, and hopefully people are going to see me a lot more.
I love it.
Yeah.
Zane, thank you so much for coming on Call Her Daddy. This was truly a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.